I was going from talking about guys that could possibly make it to XFL, because some quarterbacks in the upcoming draft could possibly make it their way there. XFL's fun. I enjoy it personally. Rocco, I know you enjoy it. We have Jay Binkley in here with us as well now.
Nobody enjoys it more, I think, on the planet than Jay Binkley.
I mean, it's true.
Literally anything with the football, nobody enjoys it more than Binkley.
I enjoy it, not going to lie.
Anything to do with the football, Binkley loves.
But from the Week 4 action,
good product.
Can we all agree that the DC Defenders are home babies? Because if they only put up, I think it was 6 points against LA, and then you put up nothing against the worst team. Well, I wouldn't say it's the worst team now. That's against the Vipers, 25-0.
We thought they were the worst team.
Like this is a bad football team away from home.
I mean, I can't understand it, to be honest with you. Just like when they opened up in the XFL, and I was thinking, man, this is a good football team. Mm-hmm. This is a very good football team when you see what they did in Week 1, winning 31-19 over Seattle. But then what really stood out is the following week when they serve a shutout.
Oh, yeah.
Then all of a sudden they go on the road, and it's like, what happened to this team? Then getting waxed by Tampa that hadn't had a win?
I had no idea that was coming.
Oh, inconsistencies, man. Opens things up.
And with that Tampa Bay team that completely waxed, I'm gonna say they waxed the Guardians, because they did. They easily ran right over them, because both the running backs had over 100 yards, which is impressive to say the least. I don't think the last time I've seen an NFL team do back-to-back, well, two players go for the 100 yards. The fact that XFL can, because you can clearly see the exposed defense on the defenders.
Yeah. And
what the former first-round draft pick, Matt Elm, was released today from there. So it's like, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, you have to look at it. I mean, you just look at the inconsistencies. They have a chance. I mean, let's think about this. Are they still going to make the postseason at 2-2? Is the New York Guardians going to stand up and play as well? New York Guardians are about as inconsistent as well.
Oh, I agree.
They look great and they look really bad.
Oh no, the Guardians.
Which team are you going to get?
They looked great for the first half of Week 1. That's all we've seen. And Luis Perez, it's a good thing that Matt McGloin is quote unquote hurt. I'm going to put quotation marks on that. Matt McGloin's a terrible quarterback. He's going to find his way out of the Guardians system at some point.
But LA was riding high.
That's true.
Going into New York and then getting well, of course, LA took that big win over DC Defenders.
But you got to think,
we got to look at the Wildcats, and then they played the Renegades close the week before.
You got to think, though, a former Birmingham Iron quarterback who only lost one game with them. You knew if he started, he was going to win, though.
That's my team, man. That's my jam.
I really kept going back to the last week, though, the Guardians losing to the Wildcats, or the Guardians beating the Wildcats. I mean, but just barely. I thought the Wildcats were going to get blown out. I know that the Wildcats just came off of drubbing the Defenders, but I was so surprised.
Well, that's when you get things rolling, and then the fact that the Wildcats go on and lose the next week. I thought the Wildcats might have found that rhythm. They were a pretty good football team, and then I thought that maybe they find the rhythm by getting that win, and then just kind of collapse on themselves. But it's anybody's ball game for the number 2 seed.
See, I love division. Sean Oakman, and I hope he does well for the Wildcats, because I feel like he could be a person that, I mean, he missed out on a lot. He should have been number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL.
Stop.
No,
yeah,
that was
far.
He was a good defensive end, defensive tackle, whatever you wanted to put him at in college. He was amazing for Baylor.
He was, but not first
he'd
round.
He'd win our bench press contest, wouldn't he?
I think he would beat you, but I really do.
I think he'd win.
There are other things that happen around. Renegades, I believe, should have beat the Roughnecks last week.
And you're the only one who thinks that, my guy.
I really think the Renegades should have. I mean, they had 5 turnovers, and 4 of them came from Landry Jones.
I mean, to me, that's why. Then once he leaves the game, I know that it felt like he was going to lead a comeback there. But after the game that Landry had, I feel like he might have just taken
3
number 2 on himself.
turnovers, 3 interceptions in the first half. Here's the thing. That team rides or dies with Landry Jones. I'll be honest with you. Landry had him in position to go down and win that football game until that quarterback sneak. And what they always say, I remember debating this with Pat Mahomes when he dislocated that knee in Denver. Because I was like, because I was serious. I was like, and usually I'm for just running whatever plays you want. And he's a tough guy, but then that happens, and then they backed away from doing it. It's a very high percentage play, by the way. Usually these things do work out. Then Landry's hurt the same play, and I'm like, no.
And it's the same knee, which sucks the worst part.
But it's like high school teams. I mean, he's everything to that team. That quarterback, when you lose that quarterback, they get another shot at Houston later on this season. But I thought defensively the Renegades played well.
I mean, they looked as good defensively as any team had against the Roughnecks. But I mean, the Roughnecks being my team, maybe I'm biased.
I feel like the Roughnecks were giving it to them. They were just pretty much, okay, we can't convert. They're easily a big play team. That's all the Roughnecks are.
I mean,
Throw it to Cam Phillips.
I think that it's interesting you say that too, because nobody in the league goes for it on for the 3-point conversion as much as the Roughnecks do. They've already gone for it 4 times this year. They've gone for the 1-point conversion 3 times this season. 2-point conversion 9 times.
You should go for it. It opens the field up a little bit.
I agree.
More.
I don't. If I'm a team, I'm not going for the 1-point conversion under literally almost any circumstance.
Minimum 2-point every time. Every time.
Yeah.
You have.
I would do the 3-point quite a bit, especially if you're coming back to the game. But 2-point conversion. It opens the field a little bit more for you. And it takes away that running game a little bit for you if you just want to punch it in with the run. But it opens it up. If you have a viable quarterback, it opens things up a little bit more.
With it being opened up, kind of with the St. Louis Battlehawks game where Tiamo threw it in front of him. That's one forward pass.
Well, it gives you the fade option.
He throws it over the end zone because you can easily do that 2 passes. It easily works that way.
At the 10-yard line with the 4 to 5 step drop, you still have the fade as an element. If the fade could come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And
or the back shoulder fade.
And a few of these teams, like the Roughnecks and the Battlehawks, are geared to be able to execute that properly. Yeah. I don't think that the Battlehawks have gone for a 3-point conversion this year. No, they haven't.
2.
They've gone for 8 2-point conversions, but
they were completely terrible for the first 3 weeks of the season, trying to go for 1-point conversions.
Boy, weren't they misread before the season started?
Oh my gosh,
yes, they were.
I mean, 9.5-point underdogs to a Dallas team that didn't have Landry Jones. I mean, that's taking candy from a baby because we know how good the Renegades are without Landry Jones, and it's not a good team.
And I guess Philip Nelson is not the answer.
No.
No.
Get Johnny Football out of retirement. Let's go.
You would Tebow, where's he at?
I don't
Open the checkbook.
He's with the Mets.
Open the checkbook a little bit.
He's going to be a starting day roster for the Mets. That's a hot take right there. But St. Louis is arguably the best team. I think they're the best team in the league. I don't think
there's a question they are.
They lost the Roughnecks.
I have a question with that. It's the Roughnecks. That's my number 1 team.
No,
that's the number 1 team in this league right now.
You can easily beat the Roughnecks if you just guard Cam Phillips. And that's exactly what the Renegades did.
Why doesn't anybody? Well, okay,
no, the Renegades shut him down.
But the Renegades
had one reception.
Right, and the Renegades still lost, and they still got what was it? 27 points or 20 points hung on them, or 27 points hung on them.
7 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's
7 is ridiculous.
He's crazy.
I don't see Tiamo throwing 5 interceptions in a game though.
No,
Tiamo's a stud, man.
He moved up a lot on this MVP ranking list, I think.
I like those wide receivers, though. I like some Marcus Lucas and Damian Washington, the Missouri connection.
DeMornay Pearson-Ella, man, he's amazing. He's a great slot receiver. I've seen some practice squad footage of him because he was on the Raiders squad last year. So I mean, at least I know my guys. Plus, I'm pretty sure he's in the AAF as well. I think he was a hot shot. I want to think. I don't know. He might have been also at an Express. I don't know. But St. Louis is the best team.
Who was your team? My team was the Birmingham Iron.
Mine was Birmingham.
I didn't get into it.
Oh man,
I did not try.
That's the league that ripped my heart out real quick.
I saw that coming.
And I don't see the XFL doing that at all anytime soon.
Is that some sticking power?
People are watching it.
They are. It's gone down a little bit, but they outdrew the combine, believe it or not. The one thing about the XFL is they had the money and financial backing to at least make it 2 years. And I think the AAF was good for the XFL. They wouldn't be good if both of them were existing.
Right.
I think the XFL is a better run organization. I mean, when you have Oliver Luck running it and you had Dean Landino doing a lot of the rules, it's got some viability. But not only that, but the financial backing to make it for 2 years. Not only that, but let the AAF rush into things.
Yes, they did.
They rushed into things. The XFL sat back, feet up, cigar, watching the implosion.
And it's like, I didn't even notice when the AAF started. I was looking through the channels like, what is this football? Like, I didn't understand it at all. Like, I completely forgot that they had a new league coming. And I was like, oh, crap, it's on TV right now. I didn't know anything on social media. The best thing about the XFL right now is the social medias because they are lit. They're all lit. It's amazing. And it's something that is going to be more valuable for people to watch.
And I know people are talking about the numbers that they've declined, but the bottom line is they're going to, when the XFL keeps shifting games over to television or cable, and I mean like FS1, ESPN2, those things, when it's on Fox and when it's on ABC, you're going to get the big numbers.
Oh, yeah.
When you're moving the games over to some on cable, that's why you see a lot of the ratings down, and people are putting emphasis in that, but you have to remember something. When these games are over the air, it's so much different because everybody's got it, especially in the cord-cutting age. Everybody still gets local television or whatever. But when you start moving, how many games are cable this week. I think ESPN2 has one,
Yeah,
and
there's gonna
Fox
be-
Sports 1 has one.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 games on Saturday. We have ABC and Fox for the Dragons, Roughnecks,
that'll
and
be
the
huge.
Guardians, Renegades. Yeah, the Saturday is going to draw again, just like it did last week. And then on Sunday, FS1 and ESPN. Not ESPN2 this time.
It's kind of a primetime game in the last game at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
so it's
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Or 8 o'clock, yeah. Is it 7 Central, though, isn't it?
9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 o'clock Central. Okay.
On ESPN, too. That's not regular ESPN, I mean.
I can see for the Sunday games being watched more because let's just go to the ratings. For week 1, 12.5 million people viewed it. Week 4, 5.5 million viewed it. So, yes, there's a huge drop. It's like almost a 7 million drop off.
But that was to be expected.
Yeah, it really was.
Exactly. But the past 2 weeks, the Battlehawks were at home, and people went to the games. A lot of people went to the games. They're on the road this week. They're in actually D.C., so it's pretty much a hot ticket game. If you want to say.
When they are at home,
people are going to watch that game. I know I'm going to.
In St. Louis, trying to prove themselves. Like St. Louis has a little chip on their shoulder because they only market in the XFL without an NFL team.
Suck it.
No, but seriously though, they have a little agenda.
Yeah.
Let's prove that we're a football town as well. Like that's where St. Louis comes out on everything. This whole push to prove they belong in the NFL.
Well, and you know what they just announced is that there's so much support by the fans in St. Louis, they're actually opening up the upper deck.
Which is smart.
It is. I mean, and it makes sense why it was closed before, so that way you don't see these sparse fans and it looks empty, but now they're opening it up. That's cool. I'm curious how much this is going to fill out after a few weeks on the road.
All I know is I'm going to a Battlehawks game on the 21st. They're taking on the LA Wildcats. I'm going to that game.
What time is it?
That is a 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday.
You kind of got a hook up there for tickets, don't you?
I have a hook up there for tickets because it may be the upper deck tickets. I don't know. It depends on what we actually get for watching wise. But everybody was talking about Landry Jones was the face of the XFL, but when the season's about ready to start. Well, clearly he's hurt, and
they were saying maybe the year, but it looks like 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
and it's kind of what
2 to 4 weeks.
Because he was hurt through training camp too. He couldn't build that sync up with the players. But he came back, the next week. It was different. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was on an NFL roster as a backup quarterback, so which primarily all are. I'm curious to go with you guys, and I missed that conversation, who you see in the NFL and who you don't.
As of right now, who do I see going into the NFL?
There will be players.
Oh, there will be.
Would the AAF have 9 make a roster, the 53-man roster, something like that? I think the XFL will be every bit that.
And I think the person who the face of the XFL right now is that could possibly make that roster jump. And I mean, a backup quarterback is PJ Walker.
And I'm hoping he doesn't as a Roughnecks fan. But
that's the bad part about this league, because this is a quote-unquote development league, but they haven't really said that yet. Because for a fact Vince is going to be like, no, I want to keep these guys here as much as possible because this is my product. I do not want people jumping ship to go to a more superior and better product because I can have you play here, but if you go to the NFL, you might get that paycheck, but you're not going to get that playing time.
And it's absolutely something that the XFL needs to try to take precautions for early. They can't let their players get poached if they're going to keep this product. Because I promise you, part of the reason why people stopped watching from week 1 to week 2 and moving forward was because of the fact that the product is not the NFL and people have that conditioned. If you continue to let it drop by getting these players poached to be backups in the NFL, that's going to be a problem for the XFL. They're going to have to figure something out to make sure that
yes
doesn't
and
happen.
no. I think it'll also clear the roadmap for a lot of guys because you got to publicize it. Don't be afraid to publicize when guys make an NFL roster.
That's true.
Because then guys may take the chance. They're like, hey, man, the XFL was a launching point for these guys in their career. And who knows, you may get guys back. Guys get cut on NFL rosters the next season think, you know what, this is my ticket to get back into the NFL. And right now you don't have a developmental league with the NFL. They just haven't gone in on the AAF. People thought they had an affiliation with the AAF in the beginning because they showed some of the games on NFL Network.
And that's why Duden pulled out.
And they talked about it. The XFL and the AAF know the NFL's watching it. But again, as I've always said, I think the NFL won't do it because their primary farm system is big-time college football
and it's free.
Players that shine at different levels. That's why 255 guys drafted this year in the NFL. It's a very small pool that you get your talent from, and they don't have to pay insurance.
All I know is from the talent of watching AAF games to XFL games, there's a lot more talent in the XFL.
It feels like it, at least. And I wonder about the defensive side, because some of those defensive players in the XFL definitely look outmatched by some of the offensive players. I know that's to be expected, and but still, the offensive players look really impressive in the XFL to me. There's still some issues on defense, though.
And there is some issues on defense, but there's also a little bit of issues with the wide receivers not catching footballs.
No, that's not a lie.
That's the bad part, and it's at least cleaned up a little bit since week 1 and 2. But you're starting to see these playmakers. You are starting to see the quarterbacks. Okay, I'm going to throw it to Tompkins. Cardell's going to throw it to Tompkins for DC, or of course Cam Phillips, an easy target, or even put Nick Holiday, or the other roughnecks, so wide receiver. So you are starting to see these valuable options for these quarterbacks right now, but there's also one person on defense that I wish that was in the AAF that needs to be in the XFL's Carter Schultz, the Stallions defensive end. Love that guy. I think he led the league in sacks over there.
Well, the Chiefs had so many from their practice squad that ended up in this league,
which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Which is and 2 of them were on St. Louis right now.
And Cam Phillips, by the way, had his chance. I think it was originally with Buffalo. I think people will be looking because of the amount of touchdowns. He played at Matha in high school, which is a big-time program. Was with the Bills in 2018. So he hadn't had very much of an opportunity. Went undrafted back in 2018. But he catches the football, and he's been doing it in traffic, and he's been getting touchdowns. That will get him an invite to an NFL camp.
It absolutely should. And, another thing to do with the drops, I think, is the increased fear of getting blown up over the middle that these wide receivers have in the XFL compared to the NFL or college football. And I think there were some increased footsteps, maybe from week 1 to week 2, and then they started settling back into that as well.
Cam was on the practice squad, but he was actually activated to the active roster and then quickly released. But
so you had a small window there, but
do you think yourself,
that's the thing. You have to prove yourself.
Does that help you? Does that help you or hurt you if you started in the NFL and had a short window, but you were at least on a roster and then go to the XFL? Do you think that helps you or hurts you?
I think it helps you because the number one thing that NFL teams want to know, and why they ask so many prospects at the combine, do you love football? That's actually become a big question in football because of Borland in San Francisco. He retires after 1 year. And the question, how much do you love football? And he really didn't give much indication. He didn't. But that's what guys are hammered on. You hear with Mahomes all the time.
More of concussions,
he loves football. But he didn't have any.
True.
Yeah, he didn't want to end up that way. And I feel him, but he wasn't somebody who just loves football. And that's fair. That's fair. And then you have guys like Pat Mahomes, and so there's the whole other side of the coin there.
But you hear that term "loves football" a lot more than you used to.
Because you either get a paycheck in the NFL or you want to play football. That's pretty much what it is. It's a job.
You play in the XFL means you love the game.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you love it.
That's why it's for the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game, right?
It's great branding, man. It really is.
Let's just do a little pick'em thing. Why not? There's 4 games. All right, Seattle, Houston.
I'm very good at this, by the way.
Can you remember these Rockos for tomorrow night?
I will.
You want to?
I can.
I don't want to differ. I'll have to give these out tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, I'll get you.
And your job is, hey, last night this is what you said, because I don't want to give something here and then something different on Friday. I'm on the spot here now.
I'll happily be your assistant.
All right, Seattle and Houston.
Give me Houston.
Houston all day. It's easy.
Yeah, that's a clean sweep right there for Houston. For that, New York and Dallas. The Guardians and the Renegades.
Here's the thing, man. I hate to go against my Dallas Renegades, but you don't have Landry Jones, man. I've seen this team without him. New York is so up and down, but so is Dallas without Landry Jones. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to go. And keep in mind, the Renegades couldn't even score through 7 quarters at the beginning of the season. That was difficult. Give me New York.
I'm going New York because Luis Perez. If he's the starting quarterback, which I hope he is, I can't stand Matt McGloin. There's personal reasons as well for Matt McGloin as well. Give me Luis Perez and the New York Guardians against Dallas.
How can you guys make the Roughnecks, the lifelong Roughnecks fan, be the only person to pick the Renegades? I mean, we just talked about the fact that the Guardians cannot win on the road, and they cannot. They've been terrible on the road, and they've been really good at home. Well, they are playing this game in Dallas. Give me the Renegades.
All right, so a home game for DC taking on the St. Louis Battlehawks.
We were talking about DC being the road team. Never mind. But the Guardians are terrible on the road.
I don't care if they play this game on Mars. Give me the Battlehawks.
Yeah, same here.
I'm going St. Louis because it's St. Louis, man. It's my team. That's my team right there. And then the primetime game on Sunday night, the Vipers are traveling to the Wildcats.
I don't want any part of this game.
Then give me the Wildcats because DC just laid down for Tampa Bay. And evidently they'll lay down on the road. So this game's in L.A., correct?
This is in L.A.
Give me L.A., then give me the Wildcats.
Kramer, you go first.
I don't know. This one, it's either I'm going with Cornelius and the Vipers or Johnson and the Wildcats.
I can't go Vipers, though, man.
Josh Johnson can easily throw 300 yards, and hopefully Nelson Spruce is healthy to play.
That guy, you talk about a guy that could be in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the only reason why he's not in the NFL because of injuries. That's the main reason why. I'm going LA on this.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. It's partially to be different, partially because I said on your show earlier in the season that I'm never going to pick LA.
Lifelong Vipers fan.
They're a trash organization. No.
They do have sick uniforms.
The Wildcats are trash.
They are, yeah. I want one of those helmets. The mini helmets. You had any place to sell those yet? I collect those things, you know.
You know,
all over the place.
Speaking
online.
of like helmets wise, I was looking through Amazon. I typed in AAF merchandise.
Yeah.
You can buy a full like Memphis Express or Atlanta Legends football helmet for like
really?
for $200.
$200.
$200. That's actually not bad, but I don't know how the heck those people got that.
I heard after the AAF went out of business, their stuff didn't drop in
price at all. Is
at
there
all.
any USFL stuff out there like the Pittsburgh Maulers?
Oh, the Maulers.
Did you know Steve Young still gets paid by the USFL, I think? Or he's kind of got...
Yeah, because that 40-year deal.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those deals like Bonilla.
Oh, happy Bobby Bonilla Day. It's coming up.
No, but Steve Young, it might be out now, but he was getting paid by the USFL still, even though the league's defunct.
That's crazy.
Jeez. All right, that's our XFL talk here.
There is one more thing I want to bring up. Did anybody see the thing about how Mummy breaking his leg?
Yeah, how about that toughness?
Okay, that was crazy. So he broke his leg halfway through the second quarter of the game on Saturday, and then they found out afterwards that it was broken. He'd stay on the sideline calling plays. How Mummy quote tweeted this tweet saying, "I'm not soft." #air raid. That's how Mummy is like. He's the truth.
Didn't Cameron Artist Payne run him over?
Yeah, he absolutely destroyed him. I was watching that game at a gas station on my phone, just sitting in my car because I didn't want to go home without
So that's why you text me and say, "Hey, I'll text you after the game."
That's
literally.
Why. Yeah,
I'm watching on my phone.
Here's the story. Flashbacks from like 2013 on CBS. Steve Young's 43-year, $40 million USFL contract. The billionaire owner of USFL's LA Express lured Young to the new league by basically offering him 4-year, $40 million contract that would be payable over 43 years.
Unreal. That's crazy.
Received $4 million up front
mind?
and base salaries of $200,000, $280,330, and $400,000 over the 4-year deal. But the Express would pay him the final $30 million over 37 years, from the time he turned 28 until he turns 65. The contract was set up as an annuity. Young had funded the annuity. He would have be getting a $1 million check in 2014. So
when's his final year for that?
When he's 68.
Does this have any potential?
65.
Does this have potential in the XFL? Could a team do this to try to get Tebow?
I don't know. I thought he took
all.
I didn't realize he was still getting paid, but evidently he's still he's Bobby Bonilla of the football world.
I mean, there's worse things to be.
So Trump's still paying him. Pretty much. That's pretty much.
No, LA owner is.
Oh, LA owner is.
Yeah, the LA owner is paying him.
I wonder if he has anything to do with the Wildcats because they suck. They're a terrible organization.
I love their uniforms though. I really do. Their uniforms are sick.
Oh, I wish they could play against the Battlehawks. I could be there for that one because I would boo, boo you Wildcats.
That's a lot of money back in the mid '80s, man.
That is what you said $40 million.
$40 million
for
contract.
43 years.
That's how they lured players to play in the USFL.
Yeah, they try to trap them there. That's exactly what they tried to do because they knew that's the thing. When that thing came around, that's when the NFL was failing because they had their player strike, or I believe that's what it was. And the players, all right, everything cleared up.
I mean, you're telling me one of these teams.
There's some history there for you, Bink. You probably knew I knew that.
You're telling me one of these teams wouldn't be
I'm
like.
I'm fascinated by the Steve Young thing now that you guys conjured my memory of this.
So, like Tyrod Taylor, here's a 15-year contract. We'll pay you $30,000 a year right now, but then after this, our owner will pay you, $1 million a year.
I can see Tyrod Taylor tearing it up in the XFL.
I mean, I'm just saying, if PJ Walker leaves, the Roughnecks should have a phone call with Tyrod's agent.
So I don't know if this ran out or not, but in 2014, he still got $1 million. That's 20 years after 94. No, that's 30 years after.
That's 30, yeah.
1984 deal he signed 84.
Some people have all the luck.
Can I just have like 1,000 of that, please?
Can I just hold a 20 until like Friday?
That's going to do it here for this podcast. It went off the rails real quick. For Rocco, Bink, and myself, it's been the Rookie Showcase. See you next time.